This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Hough White. I'm editor-in-chief of the Charlotte Post. This is Cameron Williams, who is staff reporter at the Post. It is Wednesday, November 26, 2025, and it's the best time of the year for football, arguably.
Oh, yeah.
Because the playoffs are upon us, especially in the high school ranks, where this weekend, Friday night, as a matter of fact, we have a couple of doozies in the region. And it is, I guess, depending on your affiliation or just your style of football, best game is either going to be Hough and West Charlotte or maybe Independence and Weddington. But since it's in Mecklenburg County, we're going to go with West Charlotte and the Hough Huskies.
So we'll talk about both of them.
Yes. But, man, that's the game that people have been squawking about forever. And
the
now
game that I will be
about
going
to go
to.
down. Yeah.
And I will be getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I will be there. And, look, it's going to be a good game. I think just looking at these two teams and their body of work this season, it's hard to argue that either of them aren't top five in the state. Hough's, obviously, they're ranked right behind Grimsley, I believe, as far as in the Max Prep state rankings. Number one in the Post Magnificent 7, and that's the one that matters.
It's the only one that counts around here.
And West Charlotte is number 2. Took some tumbles and regained their spot. Took some more tumbles and regained their spot. But since ever since their loss to South Point, it's been pretty status quo for them, beating the tar out of teams left and right all year long. And Hough's been doing it all year. They even beat South Point. And look, there was a lot that went into that South Point West Charlotte game. And I know Coach Collins down there in Rock Hill very well. He even acknowledged that West Charlotte's quarterback, Jamari Nichols, in that game was sick. So I wanted to, if there's anything I could have changed about the season, if Jamari was healthy, I wanted to see that game and see what West Charlotte could do against that South Point defense. Because, look, South Point's still contending for a 4A state title in South Carolina because they don't have a billion classifications. They're 1 through 5A, which NCHSA, please get a clue. We should not have gone this many classifications, but
6 at the most.
At the very most. But I mean, they're dogging everyone down there. I mean, they haven't had a close playoff game all playoffs so far. I mean, putting up 50, 60 points on teams. And last game of the season, they beat Richland Northeast 70-0. I mean, South Point's good. Hough beat them. West Charlotte lost by 3. So this game on paper between Hough and West Charlotte could be extremely like neck and neck.
Yeah, take your pick with that one.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's what I'm thinking. When you have two teams that have arrived at this point, maybe from separate angles, because West Charlotte did have to overcome some adversity early in the season. Does that make them better prepared for this moment than a Hough that has basically just blasted everything that they've run across?
Possibly, but Hough hasn't just blasted everyone. They've been in a few close games. I mean, look, the South Point game was 14-10.
Mm-hmm.
They played Mooresville pretty close to a 28-21 result, and Mooresville was up later on in that game. They played Highland Springs out of Virginia, a team that's like 9-2, 9-3 up there, 17-14. Now they did travel on the road and they won at their place. So a lot of high quality wins. Beat West Meck 43-0, Garinger 66-0. Status quo type stuff.
Yeah.
Myers Park 28-6. That was impressive to me. Now West Charlotte did just beat Myers Park the last round of the playoffs. 30-something-21. However, when I was talking with Coach Sam Grider of the Lions, he was like, that game was much further apart until they had like a block punt return or something and an interception return late. Junk scores that weren't going to affect the outcome, but nonetheless, the score was what it was. both beat Myers Park in dominant fashion, if you ask my honest opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, I just think this game is going to be really close. After that, Hough rolled Hopewell. Palisades said Palisades would be lucky to score twice. They only scored once.
Pat yourself on the back.
I'm quadruple P, by the way.
Just don't break an arm.
I'm quadruple P, by the way. I said they'd beat West Forsyth by 2 or more scores. 28-10. Quadruple P. But he's not withholding my P anymore.
You do know how that sounds.
I do know how that sounds after last week. That was quite a funny moment. But no, I'm looking forward to this game. I think it could be close. Oh, boy, I'm going to take so much flack for it. Sam, sorry.
Just go ahead and throw it out there.
I think Huff's going to win in a nail-biter.
Mm-hmm. Lots of points or no?
23-20.
Oh. So both sides will get into the 20s.
Both of these defenses are really, really strong, but I think their offenses can be explosive enough to get to 20 points. Now, look, last time I said West Charlotte and Huff was going to be close, the Huff defensive coordinator, Chachi Sullivan, he let me hear it because it was a beatdown.
Mm-hmm.
When these two teams played last year, they were still in the same conference before all the reclassification and stuff, and I said it was going to be close. It was 40-14.
Yeah.
I don't see it being quite like that this time around. I could be wrong, but Lord, for the sake of the game itself and the hype around it, let it not be that crazy. I'm sure Coach Baker and all his coaches would love it to be that lopsided so they didn't have to stress it. But from a media perspective, that would not be a very good game.
Well, all you can control is the hype going in because once everybody gets on the field, whistle blows, foot the ball, it's out of everybody else's hands. It'll be decided on the field.
Maybe even by a kicker.
And that is where Hough has an advantage. If it comes down to special teams, I think Hough will prevail under those circumstances. And I've said this all year. If special teams has to decide a game for West Charlotte, it won't end well. And this is the perfect opportunity for that to come through. Not to say that it will, but Hough traditionally has very good special teams, some of the best kicking in North Carolina.
No.
West Charlotte does not. Point blank, dead ringer, being honest.
Yeah, I mean, facts don't care about your feelings. Isn't that the old adage?
Mm-hmm.
Special teams definitely does, I think, the advantage. Now, I'll say this, in the kick return game, which is special teams,
Mm-hmm.
West Charlotte's got some burners. You kick it to some of their return guys, and they could take it to the house. But I think Huff's also got a kicker that can kick it through the end zone every time, too. So that
negates it.
They might eliminate that facet of the game for sure. But yeah, something like a 24-21, 23-20 type game.
I don't think they'll score that much.
Heavens. I don't want no slobber knocker 10-7 type.
It's going to be knuckle dragging, get down and dirty. Now, it's been a while since I've been over to Hough. I guess they're playing on the fake stuff, right?
I believe so.
Okay, so it won't be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It'll be
3 yards in a cloud of pellets.
Yeah, it'll be a pellet game. And I think it will turn out something like 17-14, 17-7 Hough.
I can see it.
I'm just saying. I mean, but now, since everything comes with a caveat around here, I think if West Charlotte can get some defensive support in terms of not just stopping Hough, but some takeaways that will turn around the short field or maybe even to the house type stuff, I think West Charlotte would flip that script. But I think all things being even, yeah, Huskies.
Fair enough. But there is another game going on with the Mecklenburg County team.
Mm-hmm.
One that I don't foresee being as close. I'm sorry, DJ.
Do tell.
I know. I'm sorry, DJ, coach of the Independence Patriots. Weddington is tough. Weddington's defense might be second to none. Honestly, as far as if I would have to rank defenses, I'd probably say Weddington, Hough, West Charlotte, Grimsley.
Mm-hmm.
They're so strong.
So you're saying the road for Independence stops at Weddington?
Probably. Okay. Weddington's schedule. Beat Mooresville. Mooresville was a good team. I mean, they were a contender, and they got upset by Reagan last round 32-31. So not a bad team. 31-10. They did lose to Myers Park. That one I couldn't believe. I talked with Andy Capone. He's like, yeah, that's the worst game that we've played in a long time. True. Crest, a team that scores 43, 44 points a game. Weddington held them to 10 in a 31-10 result. Beat Monroe 49-7. Monroe's had an explosive offense in the past. Held Sun Valley to 6 points. Sun Valley beat Olympic first or second round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Put up almost 30 or something on them. I mean, it was crazy. Shut out Marvin Ridge twice. Marvin Ridge scored 55 points in the first round of the playoffs, and Weddington's defense is so good they shut them out twice. Shut out Porter Ridge. Porter Ridge is a team that took Richmond to the brink. Now, I'll say this. Independence did absolutely throttle Richmond. Good for them. But since they started the playoffs, 49-0, 63-0, and it was 35-0 against Lake Norman until they pulled the starters, and it finished 42-7. They get up 7 points all playoffs. Independence's offense is really good. Don't get me wrong, but they average 31 a game. Weddington averages 39 points per game, and their defense is that good. Independence has 377 points for and 185 points allowed. Weddington has 469 points for, 82 points allowed all season.
That should scare anybody. But
that's why they play the game.
Absolutely, absolutely. So then what does Independence have to do to make this competitive?
Find a way to impose their will, if at any means possible, really, against the front four of Weddington. That front four, all four are D1 commits. It's unbelievable the amount of talent they've got. West Charlotte's former cornerback, KD Cotton, is now a member of the Weddington squad. He's going to be causing havoc in the secondary and just everything that he does on the field. There's a reason he's a 4-star going to Duke. Great player. I don't know if they can do enough to impose their will and continue to mount long drives. You keep getting 3 and out. Weddington's eventually going to score. Even if your defense plays to the best of its ability and stops them a few times, Weddington's offense is good enough to where they're going to score a few times. That's why Independence has to get good drives going, get them going early, and put the pressure back on Weddington. Because if Weddington plays with no pressure, it's over.
Mm-hmm. Well, it does sound a lot like Mission Impossible if you're Independence. On the other hand, not to say that they're going to win the game, but when you have that kind of defense facing you, a lot of times you've got to change up your scheme in order to throw these guys off. And I'm sure everybody that Weddington has played has probably thought that way, tried and failed.
Yeah.
But would it work to do some things in terms of controlling the ball, getting some deep shots hit early to get them off the game? So, KD Cotton is one guy.
That's true.
There's at least 3 other dudes back there in the secondary. Maybe you might want to try to pick on them.
Well, and to that point, that's a very good point. It's something I noticed last year. I've been up to Greensboro for the last 3-4 seasons now because it seems like the playoffs always running through Grimsley. But one thing that I noticed, and now Grimsley's got an all-world quarterback in Faison Brandon, but when they were able to create enough time for him in the pocket, he was able to exploit some of the weaknesses in their secondary. they're not glaring weaknesses. Don't get me wrong, but compared to the front four and even some of their linebackers, the secondary is the weakest link of the defense. And Faison was able to exploit some of those things, and ultimately Grimsley came out with the win. Now, however, Jared Street, quarterback for the Patriots, is going to have to play his best game. Kid is really, really solid, and I've given him his props. We know we give props around here.
Absolutely.
I've been on this kid since he was a freshman. I think he is extremely talented. He played at West Cabarrus before transferring to Independence this year in his junior year. It's just a different task. It truly is. If Independence's offensive line becomes Swiss cheese, I don't see him getting 120 yards.
I've seen the Patriots play this year, and I think that they have some weapons, but defensively, I think they may go begging in a game like this. So that's why it's even more incumbent that they get out to a good start early. If you have the opportunity to take some deep shots, take them, and you best hit on them, because if you're three and out at a place like Weddington, you're just opening the door for a disaster movie. And I think that a team like Weddington, and I'm looking at this from an emotional standpoint, they're probably thinking, there's no way these dudes can compete with us. And
Maybe.
So you need to be able to do something to get their attention. And I believe in striking quickly when it comes to an opponent who has, like you said, all this front four athleticism. You may just want to think about it. It's like, well, is this a group that could be susceptible to misdirection? Or do you run straight at somebody? Or
you're not running straight. You're not running on this team. Not like that. Look, Jaden Jones, running back for the Patriots, is extremely talented. One of the I know last year I think he was a sophomore. Or no, I think is he a senior this year? He might be, but I've obviously covered him throughout his high school career. Really hard nosed runner, low center of gravity. But I saw him go up against Hough last year in the playoffs, and he did not look like himself at all because of everything Hough was able to do. And I think Weddington's front four is even more imposing.
Mm-hmm.
I see him maybe getting 50 yards.
So it's not that
unless he breaks one, unless there's an absolute blown assignment and the C's just part and he breaks one long, they'll be able to contain him.
But this is starting to sound like Independence has about as much of a chance as turkey for the Thanksgiving meal.
Unless you're the pardon turkey. Look, I'm not going to be disrespectful because all these teams that are here at this point in the playoffs have proven themselves to be a good team. There's just levels to this kind of stuff, and I think Independence is all but so close. Just looking, they've got one common opponent. Both teams have played Lake Norman, and quite frankly, Weddington played them later in the year when teams were supposed to be better, i.e. Lake Norman supposed to be better than they were earlier in the year. 42-7. It was a shutout until the scrubs came in. And then Independence beat them 26-7. Okay, cool. I just don't see this one being close. I think it could be a result very similar to a couple years ago. They met in the regional final in 23. Weddington won 34-14.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be similar.
Okay. All right. Well, so there you have it. A couple of really good games that are on tap in the Charlotte region.
Quadruple P is going to be right again for the fourth week in a row, baby.
Yeah.
You heard it here. He gave me my P back.
We'll see how that goes. And before we close out, let's dive into a little bit of college football.
Paquito. A little bit.
Johnson C. Smith, their historic season came to an end last week.
Abruptly.
With a 21-7 loss to Frostburg State of Maryland in the first round of the NCAA Division II playoffs.
I got that one wrong.
Well, so
I think
did
you
I.
did too. Yeah.
So did I. And it was, by any measure, a historic and the best season in Golden Bulls history. And we're talking about since 1892. Best season ever. 10 wins for the first time. CIAA title, first one since 1969. The quarterback, Kelvin Durham, who did not play particularly well Saturday, still set school records for everything from completion percentage to total offensive yards. And you can't take anything away from the season that they had. But what went wrong last week?
Frostburg State's offensive line were some dogs. They were imposing their will at will on the defensive front of the Golden Bulls. I know you were probably fed up with how much I was talking about it, but I was just watching the way the guards pulled, the way their line shifted, just different little technical things that football eyes can pick up on, and their blocking schemes were just really good. There were times where their running back would go untouched for the first 10 to 15, and yeah, Smith might stop them, but it's like they're just getting off these chunk plays on the ground, and you can't have that, especially come to playoffs. And it happened. The result is what it is. I will say this: the final 14 margin is a bit bolstered. It was 14-7 the majority of that second half. Smith mounted a good drive to start the third quarter. It was a one-score game, and then, quite frankly, you had the chance to score again, but turn the ball over. Then they march right back down the field, run, sprinkle in a short pass here and there. It might be incomplete, but then run some more. It was impressive to watch. Their run fits were just really, really strong, both offensively and defensively. Bobby Smith wasn't getting too much on the ground for the Golden Bulls, and
then he got hurt.
He was a little shaken up. Overall, it was a historic season. You can't take that away from them. CIAA champs for the first time in a long time. 69. There it goes. 1969. And look, Maurice said it best. They don't lose, they learn. He's like, there's a valuable lesson to be learned in this moment. Quite frankly, when it comes to his building a program step-by-step type mentality, you win 2 games your first year, 7 the next, you go to a Division II bowl game, then 8 the next. After being 8-0, you kind of let the moment get too big, knowing that you could go to a CIAA championship game. But then the next year, you drop one early in the year, you win out, you show your maturity, you show your growth, and then not only do you get to the CIAA title game, you win it. You take that next step, get to the Division II playoffs for the first time in program history. They hit the brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I expected them to win, but to get to that point in 4 seasons?
That's not bad.
It's impressive.
That's not bad at all. I would also think that moving forward, and obviously in college football these days, everything changes from year to year. And now that they've had a peek at what this looks like when it's done well, you need to go out and improve on some stuff. Because if you're not improving, you're getting worse.
If you're not
going
forward, you're going backwards.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I think that they need to do is keep improving that offensive line depth. Because by the time they got to Frostburg, it was 3 offensive line starters that were missing, and they were starting a freshman in one of those spots. That's not good. And granted, everybody's got injuries when you're talking about getting to the postseason, and healthier teams have a tendency to do better. So that's one of the things. And of course, running back was this close to being on the precipice of a disaster because you lost 3 of your top 4 people to injury during the season. And by the time they got around to the playoffs, when Bobby T. Smith went down early. I was like, okay, who's left? And then it was Antonio Krim, who was one of those folks who had been on the injured list for a good chunk of the year. He played a little bit, but those two positions obviously need to have some better health. And if you can, swing it to where you can get some better talent as well. But most of those guys are coming back.
Yeah.
So that stands them in good stead. Brevin Caldwell, who was a two-time All-CIAA receiver, he's in the transfer portal.
But will
maybe he'll
possibly return.
Yeah, maybe. But, these days, if somebody's trying to write a check, why not?
I'll say this. None of the schools I've seen him get offers from are going to be able to give him much more than what he could be getting at Smith. Maybe some of the FCS schools, but look, unless he gets a Division I offer somewhere, I think it's best to stay.
Yeah, but he'll have one more year of eligibility at the very least. And outside of Biggie Proctor, their All-CIAA receiver, that group is coming back. Yeah. So even if Caldwell doesn't return, Proctor's gone, they still have 2 or 3 dudes that if they stay.
But you know who isn't?
Kelvin Durham is not coming back.
They need to go get that boy Dalen Lee from Shelby.
I'm not sold on that. But that would be for another podcast, no doubt about that. I am not sold on him. But if you go to the portal to get a quarterback, that'll be interesting to see how that turns out. But they also have 3 quarterbacks at least who are on the roster who have either redshirted or didn't play a whole lot. And I'd like to see if the development quarterbacks, those kids who are freshmen or sophomores or redshirt freshmen or whatever, has Maurice Flowers done the quarterback whispering to where he can have those guys ready to play for 3 or 4 years as a homegrown as opposed to a portal. That would be interesting to me.
It would be interesting to see. But Golden Bulls, props. Great season.
Absolutely. Wonderful campaign.
It's been really fun covering y'all, really, for me, these last 5-6 weeks. So it's been fun to watch. Yeah. But as we wrap up this podcast, as we did last Thanksgiving, I want to break down this NFL Turkey Day slate before we wrap this.
If we must.
1 o'clock game, Packers and Lions. Detroit is -3 with the total at 47.5. Who covers the spread and what's going to be the total? Over or under?
Over
47.5.
And Lions cover.
Lions -3. Heard that. 4:30. This is a good game here. Chiefs at the Cowboys. Chiefs are -3.5, and the over/under total is 52.5.
Chiefs cover and less than.
Okay.
Okay.
Thursday night game, 8:20 on NBC and Peacock. Bengals at Ravens. Ravens are -7 with the total also at 52.5. These are brought to you by ESPN Bet.
Ravens cover less than 52.
You heard it here. Put that in.
That's just me.
Put that in on your. Why? I want to get to why you picked what you picked.
Which game?
Well, all of them.
Okay. Well, I think let's see. So that was Green Bay and Dallas? No, Kansas City.
Green Bay and Detroit.
Green Bay and Detroit. Yeah, and that game is in Detroit. And to me, the Detroit Lions are Thanksgiving football.
Well, they used to be on the losing end of it.
Well, whether they were losers or not. I mean, it started in terms of the NFL and Thanksgiving Day. It started with the Lions.
Well, Dallas has been on Thanksgiving a lot.
Well, yeah, but the Lions were there before the Cowboys were the Cowboys.
I hear you.
So I think that Detroit has a lot to play for. They're trying to get some momentum ginned up to make that run to the playoffs. I am not convinced that Green Bay is consistent enough to pose a threat, and that's why I picked the Lions. And I just think that Dan Campbell may be underrated. As much pub as he gets, I still think he's underrated as a coach.
Well, here's my picks. You can get Herb's picks at a price of plus $47.56 on DraftKings Sportsbook. If you're into all that, I would take Detroit to cover as well, and I would also take the over. Same on that one. I would take Dallas to cover 3.5, and reason being, I think their offense is explosive enough to keep up with Kansas City. I just don't think their defense is strong enough to keep Kansas City from not getting that last-second field goal, or maybe they might be up by a score, maybe might be up by 4, and Kansas City score a late touchdown. But I think Dallas covers, but I think the over is hitting in that game. I think Dallas' defense is a little too weak. Kansas City can put up some points, but Dallas' offense is going to put up points. So I like the over in that one. I like Cincinnati to cover with slinging Joe Burrow back.
He's one toe away from.
I know you said that, but I like them to cover, and I also like the under in that game as well. I think something in the ballpark of 24-21 Ravens. It goes under the 52, but Cincinnati keeps it close and respectable.
Okay. And the Ravens are quietly putting themselves in position to do some things in the AFC North, which 5-6 weeks ago,
you're like, what?
How in the world did they do that? But
it helps having Lamar back, I'm telling you.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But holiday football,
nothing like it.
Absolutely.
There's also a lot of holiday college basketball on Lamar too. But
NFL is where it's at. Sorry, but yes, and the same thing's going to happen for Christmas too. The NBA is just going to have to get accustomed to getting shoved to the
No. Christmas Day is NBA. You won't find the NFL game on my TV on Christmas Day. That's reserved for the National Basketball Association.
And that's fine. You will be in the minority, and it's okay. It's okie dokie. But anyway, go to our website, please. thecharlottepost.com. Become a subscriber. You can subscribe to the digital publication. You can also subscribe to old school print.
Nothing like it.
Nothing like it because it's tactile. You can feel it. You can see it.
Even get paper cuts.
Well, maybe even an ink smudge or two. Who's to say? And you can also become a donor. If you like our work and want to support it, we would love for you to leave some coin because it's an investment. It's an investment in the journalism that we produce and the community that we cover. Also, if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, like and subscribe. Every little thing helps. And of course, you can get it on the Queen City Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on and on. And so for everybody in beautiful Derrida, that's Cam.
Quadruple P.
Yes, even if it's in his own mind. I'm Herb. Thanks for watching and listening.